Number one for communication, I'm going to go through them quickly. Listen by asking a lot of questions. Listen by asking them a lot of questions. Number two, give them feedback. There is a part of the brain called the amygdala, and it does well when you give them feedback. For example, you might say, "So I see what you're saying is," or you might say, "Can you check if I understood you correctly?" Or you can say, "Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to repeat what I just heard." Because often we as parents think we understood what they're saying, but often we get it wrong. And then we jump to conclusions and act upon it, and then they say, "Gosh, man, you don't understand me, like you don't get me. You don't get it." So ask them, "Help me to get it. Tell me." And just listen and repeat and give them feedback. And then you can say something like, "I remember doing something similar to what you did, and this is what my outcome was." Share with them instead of telling them, "Don't do that, do it this way." Number three, give them positive compliments. Let your compliments be more than the criticism, but not always compliment. The compliments have to have different ways that you say it. Like, be direct. Know your child and say, "Okay, what is it that they really are doing good at?" And then highlight it. Randomly, in the lounge, in the car, when people are around, like your family, your brothers, your siblings, in front of your wife, your husband, say, "You know what, Muhammad, what I like about you?" Say what? Say, "That thing that you do, you're really good at making yourself clear." "Yeah, Bobo, like what, Dad?" Say, "Like, the other day when you were talking like that, I was very proud, the way you were so clear about it. I think, mashallah, we can work on that. You've got a future, mate." Your daughter, you say, "You know what I like about what you do? I noticed you do this and that. And, when I was your age, I couldn't even do it. My daughter's pretty magnificent at this." Highlight it and make sure that each one, you compliment them about it. Every child has something good in them, so highlight it. Make sure you mention it. Make sure. I promise you it'll make a huge difference for you. I like how you're patient when it's my turn to speak. Say to them that, for example. Randomly say, "If I were to give you one description of how you stand out," say to your child, "I would say," and then the other child will jump up, I bet, and they're going to say, tell me, Dad, tell me, Mum. What about me? What's special about me?" Just look at yourself. When you're in a group and someone praises someone else, you feel, "What about me?" You're an adult, right? But you don't want to look like a kid. But when someone says, "For you," and then you say, "Oh, what is it about me?" And you get all nice and cuddly and childish. Everybody loves to be praised. Your name is said and what was highlighted. Like, for example, I know a father who said to his daughter, "You know what's special about you?" She goes, "What?" He goes, "You have a way of making people smile." Then he goes and gets her a little jumper with a smiley emoji. You make people smile. You've now highlighted something unique about her, and you're going to build that character in her. Of course, not a people pleaser. You make people smile. So highlight it. Number 5, calm and tone. Look, it's very hard for us to keep our cool all the time. I even lose it. We're not perfect parents. But make yourself 70% of the time. When your child remembers how you talk, you want to be able to succeed in them remembering you as more calm and a tone and understanding than shouting, abusing, criticizing, frustrated. Because when you raise your voice, they're going to raise your voice. When you get angry, guess what they're going to do? They're going to get angry. I'm going to give you a quick exercise before we're done. The person next to you, I want you to ask them something, but you've got to whisper it. And then I want to see how the other person responds. So turn to the person and ask him, "What's your name?" Go ask him. Ask, "What's your name?" Come on, brothers, sisters, say, "What's your name?" Ask him, Ramadan. Ask Brother Mirsad. "What's your name?" Quietly. You got to whisper it. You got to whisper it. If you brushed your teeth, whisper it, because your breath's going to come out all at the face. "What's your name?" Or go like this. "What's your name?" Come on. Brothers and sisters, watch this. If you whisper to someone, "What's your name?" guess what happens? They whisper back. Why do they whisper back? If you go like this, there's no one around, and you go, "Hey, what?" So why are we whispering? There's no one around. It's the nature of human beings. You lower your voice, they're going to lower their voice. We learned this in teaching. One of the strategies that when we sit together with teachers, I said to one of my friends, teacher, I say, "Bro, Stop raising your voice. I can hear you from the other side of the corridor and I'm trying to teach. So the kids are frustrated. You want them to calm down? Get them used to your tone. From here, bring it down to here. Say the most brutal things, but say them at a low tone. Okay, you're getting a demerit. But sir, I didn't do anything. One demerit. If you keep going, it's a detention. Sir, detention. And maintain. I saw one of them do that, and they followed them outside the room. And he just kept going, that teacher. Until you're able to match my tone, I can't hear you. And the voice went down. But sir, really, you got to listen to me. Okay, now I can hear you. All right, thank you for that. We'll talk after detention. Even that, whatever consequence you give your child, keep your tone, and guess what? Come back and talk about it. Do you know why I gave you that? Let's talk. It gives them time to calm down. Don't just give them consequence and let them go. You've got to come back and talk. Well, my father used to do that. He said, do you know why I punished you? After we've calmed down, I said, what, Dad? Next day. I said, because of this and that and that. I said, all right. He goes, do you understand? It's not because I love to punish you, Dad. And you end up loving him. My last piece of advice, don't talk too much, like what I'm doing right now. Don't talk too much. Lecture, lecture, lecture. Hear yourself. Record yourself. You don't even want to hear yourself. I remember back at school, we'd have a meeting and someone's talking and I feel like I'm the student now. And guess what? I find myself sitting right at the back. But then I tell off the student why they're sitting at the back. I find myself looking at my time. But then I tell off the student for looking at the time. I start saying, this could have been an email, instead of a big meeting. The student would have said, oh, why do I have to study? I can do this at home. So now I understand, hold on a minute, this is frustration. Lecturing, you will notice, okay, who can tell me what's the attention span of an average teenager these days, or a child these days, 21st century, with social media, with gadgets, with all the devices? What's the attention span? 9? 10? 30? 7? 7 seconds. 7 seconds is the attention span. So you've got to change the activity. Some about 15, 20 seconds, yeah. But you've got to change. You've got to get them to talk. You've got to give and take. The proper peace be upon his words were always short and direct. 2 sentences, wait. Talk back. Do you understand what I'm saying? Instead of, have you been listening? You're looking at your phone. You've been lecturing the kid, the teenager for what, 10 minutes now? They shut out a long time ago. You can tell from their face. It's when the eyes stop moving and they just go, huh? Do you know what I said? Yeah, I don't know. You were saying something like, oh, don't know. No, I didn't say that. Oh, they don't know what you're saying. They can't even remember. When you shout, all they hear is shout. When I abuse, all they hear is I abuse. If I say 10 beautiful things and then I say, you're an idiot, what do they hear? You're an idiot. That's what they hear. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the strength and patience. Ameen. Use humor. Be a humorous person. Some parents, they don't know what joking is. Everything's haram, can't joke. Look, ya akhi, laughter and happiness is beautiful. Number 7, set boundaries and limits. You don't just let them on a green light. Boundaries and limits, and there are consequences. One of the boundaries and limits, I say, this day and age is the phone for both your sons and daughters. Even if they're 16, 17, 18, I don't care how old they are. When you go to bed, the whole family goes to bed. At this time, the phones are outside, or they have to be off, until you can prove that you can be responsible to go to bed with no more phone in your hand. That phone is quite dangerous in the bedroom, but we cannot prevent it from them completely, and you cannot continue to monitor 24/7. So take it easy on yourself, oh parents. They do have to learn that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching them, and then there are consequences every now and then. So there are limits, there are boundaries. You don't let them cross it, inshallah, and there are consequences to it. You can talk to them and say, do you know why these boundaries are there? Maybe a good idea is when they're like 15, 16, sit together and say, okay guys, look, boys, sons, daughters, we have to put certain boundaries and limits. So we're going to decide on them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, all agreed? All right, do you know why we've got these boundaries? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, what consequences should we give? There's several ways. You can agree on it, democratically. Yani, don't make takfir on me, you know what I mean. Like democratically, as in together, we all decide and we agree together. That's the best option. And then after the consequence happens, say, do you know why the consequence happened? And you review. Finally, avoid confrontation and ultimatums. If you don't do that, that's going to happen. If you don't do, and for crying out loud, brothers and sisters, not everything has to be a fight. They're not going to die if they didn't do their bed. They're not going to die or anything's going to happen if they forgot to do their chore or if they stayed up a little bit more or something like that. Let's choose which battles. Not everything is a fight. My brothers and sisters, what is important? Major, health, safety, compulsory religious acts, right? Even at that time, avoid argumentation. Say, I cannot allow you to let yourself go. I care about you and I will have to place some limits for this. Give positive feedback, highlight what you love about them. Don't constantly remind them of their past mistakes, as I said, and avoid comparing them to others. Get out of the habit of comparing. Look at your cousin, look at your brother, look at your sister, look at so-and-so, look at so-and-so. Compare them to themselves instead, even if you have to write it. So you know what, son, you know what, daughter, the other day, you managed to do this much. Now you've gone a little bit below that standard. So what are we going to do? You have to beat your standard. Or the other day you were at this standard. Now I can see you've actually improved. Well done. Keep going. Compare them to themselves. The worst thing you can do is compare them to others. Last things, but I don't have time to talk about them, but we do also have to talk about sexual behavior, sexual talk. If you parent don't know how to do it, get someone else to do it. But if your child is able to freely, or at least talk to you about some of sexual talk, then alhamdulillah, you have a good relationship. And the idea is to have an objective way of informing them. Use the deen, use hadith, use biology. Make it normal to talk about boundaries, limits, fearing Allah, being able to talk to you about it. The last thing you want is your daughter or your son who has now reached a certain age with all the devices in front of them. 70 to 90% of their life is online. 70 to 90% of their life is online. And now newborns are born, apparently new studies have shown that newborns are born with a Wi-Fi attached to their body. I'm just joking, of course. They've evolved to come out with a third arm. It's called a mobile phone with Wi-Fi. They're born with their devices, man. Just seeing the child's like this. That's it. So their life is on there. Now this teenager gets someone to communicate with them, and all it takes is for this idiot boy who's a shuleba or some whatever says, you got beautiful eyes, and she's all over it. Why? Because there's dryness in how to talk about between, family about these taboo topics. So they look for it elsewhere. Sometimes there's a lack and a neglect in the family, so they look for it elsewhere. So brothers and sisters, be tender to those areas. What do we do about sexual behavior? Set limits and boundaries as well, and talk to them about it, even if they're uncomfortable. You know what I said to my daughter the other day? I said, I wish I was cross-eyed. She goes, why? I go, so I can see two of you. Aww. I said, the next time a boy says it to you, tell him my dad says that. So you too, brothers, show them, but don't get too far with it and get cringy or weird. But let them know that my dad says it. So the next time the boy tries this funny line on her, she'll say, oh, my dad, man. My brothers and sisters, very importantly, drugs, smoking and alcohol. Parents sometimes say, do what I say, don't do what I do. Rubbish. Rubbish. If you are addicted to smoking, don't smoke in front of them or anything else. And make sure that you explain to them the dangers of that. My brothers and sisters, there's lots more to say. And we require courses and PDs in this area. There are books that we can read about raising children. There are courses we can do online very quick. There are YouTube experts on YouTube who talk about it. The Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ there's a plethora of information about him and how he was around teenagers and children. Let us implement it in our lives, and let us love our children. And may the children also make dua for your parents. Be easy on them, my brothers and sisters.